What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Lakers Outsiders podcast. Gary Kester here with you as always. We have a bit of a special podcast for you today. Before I jump into that, I'm going to introduce my co-hosts, guests, whatever they are. We're just hanging out talking hoops. First and foremost is Hani Amadi. And Hani, I hope you're awake for this one. Just trying to make it through like this whole podcast for me, all right?
Listen, that's kind of a tough ask. But I'll see what I can do for you.
All right, that's all I can ask, really. I have low expectations, though. So Jacob Rude might not, but he's staying up late with us. Jacob, you're out on the East. Okay, first of all, put that shirt away. just stop it. I was going to ask how you're doing, but I honestly don't care anymore.
The how I'm doing can be summed up in two words: Marvin Bagley.
Whatever. Anyways. College basketball season's not here, so we're not talking about it. I don't care. Don't care. I mean, we can talk about last season when North Carolina won it all, but that's
I'll pass.
Wait. We can talk about last season when Nevada smoked Boise State.
Okay, you know what? I'm a North Carolina fan, so I don't care right now.
All right.
Hey, I'm a Duke fan when it's convenient, and I'm an IU fan when it's convenient. I have no shame.
It's a foolproof system. Y'all take notes. But no, this is like I said, this is a special podcast. This is our first summer mailbag podcast. We're going to be doing these a little bit leading up to training camp, kind of to pass the time. It's, we've been in the middle of the off season where not a whole lot to talk about. The schedule was just released, and we'll be doing a podcast to kind of break that down next time. So keep an eye out for that. But for now, we're just answering all your guys' questions. We're going to start with the questions that were sent to us on our social media sites. So on Facebook, on Twitter, and we did have a question sent to us in our email, lakersoutsiders@gmail.com. That's not an invitation to send us hateful comments and stuff. Like, just don't. Just don't. ELE, everybody love everybody. But we're just going to dive right into this. This is an interesting question because it's something we've talked about quite a bit, but this was sent to us in our email. So Tyler Rowland, I apologize for not knowing exactly how to pronounce it, but Tyler sent us an email asking if the Lakers do land Paul George and LeBron James, how does Brandon Ingram fit into the fold here? He mentioned he was listening to another podcast, and they mentioned that Brandon Ingram would probably have to come off the bench. Hani, do you agree with that, or do you think all three would start and be on the court together next to Lonzo Ball?
I think I agree with that for the immediate future. So what I'm kind of considering would be something like Paul George as the shooting guard, LeBron as a small forward, and then if the Lakers can keep him, Julius Randle as the power forward. If not, then Larry Nance or Kyle Kuzma or something. I think in the future, you hope that Ingram bulks up enough that he can play the four long term. But right now, he's just not at that level. And LeBron and Paul George haven't exactly been receptive to playing the four for long stretches. So yeah, that's what I would guess is going to happen.
Jacob, do you agree? Would you start Ingram, or do you think it would be better suited for him to come off the bench in that scenario?
I think I would probably start him. I think I mentioned this before. I'd probably start Ingram, PG, and LeBron. Even with Lonzo, that's like four guys like 6'7" to 6'9", 6'10", and bring Randall off the bench as like a sixth man, kind of like how Lamar Odom was, where he came off the bench, but he played like the crunch time minutes. So I think I'd probably start Ingram, just give you kind of some more versatility in the starting lineup. But I guess it kind of depends on how both he and Randall do this season. I guess if Randall kind of makes leaps defensively, you could theoretically start both of them, but I think a lot of it depends on how much Ingram improves and whether Randall can shore up his defensive issues.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a full year to kind of see how those guys, develop, and we don't even know if Randall's going to be on the roster beyond this season. He can hit free agency as a restricted free agent unless the Lakers renounce his rights, which I'd be kind of surprised at. Although, I mean, it's possible if they do land 2 marquee free agents that they renounce him to create as much cap space as they can. I'm going to break the tie here by saying that Hani is wrong, which I feel like I say frequently.
That's basically the story of my life, to be honest with you.
Just threw up a little bit agreeing with the Duke fan. But no, I honestly, I think Brandon Ingram's done coming off the bench. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about, Dang could still start over him. I just think the way Magic and Rob Pelinka have spoken about him, I feel like there's this expectation that he needs to start. He needs to start and play these minutes. And I think, their direction of playing positionless basketball, you could theoretically put Ingram at the 4 and, LeBron, I don't know. I mean, maybe Lonzo basically plays the 2. Paul George plays the 3 and LeBron plays the 1. Like, you can kind of mix and match a little bit if that is like the group of 4 players that you have, along with whatever center you want to throw out there. I think Ingram's done coming off the bench. That's just a gut feeling of mine. I just think the way they've spoken about him and just kind of all we've heard about how much we have to see it, play out on the court. But from everything we've heard is that he looks greatly improved. He looked tremendous in Summer League, but it is Summer League. And it was 1 game. So I try not to invest too much into that, but I don't know. I have a feeling Ingram's done coming off the bench with the Lakers. I think unless he really just starts to disappoint next year, and like his play puts him there. I think he's done coming off the bench. I think he's a starter for good. And if he keeps getting better and better, he's obviously gonna stay there. So, so Hani, you're wrong. Jacob, you're right because you agree with me. But
gonna save this podcast for when we definitely 100% sign Paul George and LeBron James,
or when Ingram is coming off the bench on opening night.
If we have LeBron and Paul George and I'm wrong about this, like, fine, cool, darn. We have LeBron and Paul George. I'm not too mad about it.
All right. The next question comes from Maddie Pierce on Twitter, and I'm just going to say this first and foremost. I apologize if I get your name wrong. I'm horrible with pronouncing names. I barely get my own name right on here, I think, sometimes. If I didn't ask Hani how to pronounce his name like beforehand, way back when, I know I would have screwed it up. So just a forewarning. Don't take it personally.
Shout out to white people.
Okay. Anyways, Maddie Pierce asks us grades for the Nike uniforms. Jacob, how are you feeling about the new Nike uniforms? I'm assuming he's talking just about the Lakers, but I guess you can comment on the general uniforms.
Well, the Pacers get a huge F if we're talking about league-wide. Those are awful. For the Lakers, I don't know, like B, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of boring that they didn't change it at all, but I also didn't expect them to change anything. So, I mean, they basically put a Nike swoosh on it. And, I mean, I still like their jerseys. It was just it'd been kind of cool to see something different, but it's the Lakers. They were never going to change anything like that. So, I guess I'll go with like a B, just bleh, whatever.
Honey, how you feeling about them?
I'm giving him an incomplete because I'm expecting – well, I mean, we know for sure there's going to be a couple more jerseys because they haven't released all of them yet. So I'm hoping those are at least kind of more unique. But like Jacob said, we weren't expecting them to be really any different other than like the tiny changes that Nike's making to every single jersey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still holding out hope for like sleeveless Hollywood Nights, maybe the throwbacks, the Showtime throwbacks. They keep wearing those.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I mean, I like the jerseys. I didn't really feel like they needed changes. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think Timberwolves fans are probably like not happy that their team changed jerseys. Jacob, you said the Pacers got an F on theirs. Like, if they got an F, I don't know what grade to give the Timberwolves because those things are god awful.
Is it weird that I kind of like them then? Like, I think they're all right.
I mean, Hani, you can agree with me or you can be wrong. Like, it's your choice. But
I just like the Pacers. It doesn't make sense because like this is a very Indiana thing, but like they started to draw the state, and then they got to like the hard part of the state, and they're like, let's just make it a big block. Like that's really hard, and it just looks like a giant key or something. Like I don't even know. It's terrible. And then like
that's basically what they did with their offseason too. They got to the hard part of trading Paul George and screwed it up.
Yeah, they like started everything fine. They got to the hard part. We're like, nah, forget it. We'll just make it as easy as possible. Yeah, and it was really funny too that Lance Stevenson was like their like model for everything because like 6 months ago he wasn't even in the NBA and now he's like the face of the Indiana Pacers. Like life came at him really fast in the opposite direction, I guess. I don't even know. The Pacers are doing weird things and making lots of people mad around here.
Yeah, it sounds like almost like a tradition there, right?
Yeah, they I don't know. They did draft a white player, so I guess most people around here are happy.
All right, that's 2 racial comments on this podcast.
Yes, this is my favorite podcast we've had. So,
all right, I'm the only one who hasn't dove into that yet, so we'll see how the rest of this goes. But this is an interesting question, so we'll get back to being serious here. This is from Afa_Brain on Twitter, who's been a friend of the show since we started. This is actually a really good question, and Hani, you can answer it first so that we can get the wrong answer out of the way. But
it's a very white thing to say, Gary.
All right, well, there's number 3. I'm keeping a tally here. If it came down to it, he said, let's assume PG and LeBron come to the Lakers. Would you rather have KCP or Randall if we can make the money work?
Oof. I did see this question, and I was planning on like thinking about it a little bit more, but I forgot.
Nice.
Nailed it.
It is a tough question. I think I prefer Randall because I think he might come a little bit cheaper. B, it's easier to pay him because we have his bird rights, so we can go over the cap to keep him. C, he's younger, so I mean, actually that part's not super important because KCP is still pretty young. Mm-hmm. I do think he adds a little bit more versatility than KCP does. Caldwell Pope's pretty good at guarding the perimeter, but he's really only guarding 1s and 2s. Randall's not very good at defending anybody right now, but he can ideally play the 4 and then play a little bit of small ball 5. And then he adds more varying skills to the offense, I think. Just the fact that, again, he's not a very good finisher, but I think he's better than KCP is because KCP is pretty awful at finishing. He's not as good of a shooter, but he adds more in terms of playmaking, and just like having a playmaker at his position is a little bit more unique and makes your offense a little less predictable than it does with KCP.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, if either of them were to stay, they're looking at a 6-man role, right? Because I think, if Paul George and LeBron come over, or, they sign with the Lakers, I imagine you start Lonzo, Paul George, Ingram, and LeBron, plus whoever. Doesn't matter at center. That team's awesome. Anyways, so I don't see either of them starting. I mean, maybe if Randall gets better defensively, he's a small ball 5. I don't really see that because I just don't. You don't have like any rim protection whatsoever. This one's really, really tough, though. It just depends on how they fill out the rest of the roster, I guess. I mean, on the surface, like right now, I would probably say I'd probably want to keep KCP. As big of a Randall fan as I am, the Lakers are so much thinner out on the wing. And, yeah, they'd be adding Paul George, but they wouldn't have Clarkson anymore, if they're fitting those guys in. So, you would need – some 2-guard help still, some wing defense, a guy that's a pretty good shooter. That one's really tough. I can go either way on that one, but I guess I'd just go with KCP because the Lakers have so many front court players as it is. You're probably still going to have Zubats. You're probably still going to have Nance, Kuzma. And I think you'd have LeBron or Ingram playing the 4. So I don't know. I would probably say KCP just because I think he would fill a more pressing need.
I see the weird thing. Like neither of them are particularly great fits with that kind of lineup of Lonzo, PG, Ingram, and LeBron. Because either you're playing Randall out of position at the 5, or when he can't like defend the rim, or you're going super small and playing LeBron at the 5, which I guess kind of worked in spurts in the finals, but that was when like he was going against Durant. It wouldn't work if you're playing like, I don't know, Memphis against Marc Gasol or stuff like that. I'm kind of like, I kind of work under the assumption that if we get LeBron and PG, we probably had to get rid of a lot of that front court to get rid of Luol Deng's contract. Like guys like Nance, Zubats, Kuzma, like we're gonna have to get rid of some of those. So I think for that reason, I would probably keep Randall, but I don't know. Like it's a toss-up because like a lineup of like Lonzo, KCP, PG, Ingram, and LeBron is just like all wing players that are all really good at just really various things. Like KCP can be the spot-up shooter with Lonzo and like. See, I don't know. Now I'm talking myself into KCP. I'll say Randall, but I mean it's basically a coin flip like that. If we're coming down to picking Randall or KCP to pair with LeBron and PG, like I'm not going to be mad with either choice. I don't think
it's more likely. I think that Randall does because the Lakers would have his bird rights and stuff, and he's a restricted free agent, so that like they can sign him afterwards.
Like KCP would have to take a pretty substantial pay cut to stay with the Lakers.
I doubt it. Yeah, it's definitely more likely. I think that Randall does, but that'd be tough. I mean, if you can keep either one of those guys with those two coming on board, I mean that's a huge win. But next question, David Chia at ChiaPet74 asks, "What did I have for lunch today?" I mean, probably something not very good if you had to ask me that question, but yeah,
correct answer. I agree with that one.
Yeah, we all agree. Okay, here's another one we're all going to agree on. Tom Fear.
Hold on. I just want to say shout out to David because he's awesome and I love him.
Yeah, I love David. David's pretty cool. I like when he jumps in the mentions. But no, Tom Fear asks, "The Lakers are dead to me. Am I a bad person? # free D'Lo."
Yes.
Gary signed off, but yeah, it's yes. The answer is yes.
Yes, Tom has jumped off the bandwagon. He's a Nets fan now, but yes, he is a bad person.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before I cut out. Tom, you're a bad person.
Tom obviously hacked into this podcast and
he knew what the answer was coming. Hacked in, cut off the internet. Yeah, stay on the Laker train and join the LeBron to LA bandwagon because that's all we have.
Yeah, I just looked at the YouTube live stream. Seb, I'm watching you, man. Don't be talking about my Titans. We'll get to you in a minute.
Gary's about to go full Stephen A and start.
I'm about to just make this a Titans podcast.
Threaten everybody.
This was a really good question too, from Jay Matthew on Twitter. He asks, if LeBron comes next summer, how do you guys feel about the age gap between him and Lonzo and Ingram? He said, historically, I don't know what that compares to. Jacob, how would you feel about that?
It's interesting. I don't know if there's really a precedent for it.
He mentioned Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard, which is, I would say, fairly accurate. Yeah. But Tim Duncan was really kind of like, I don't know. He was good in like 2014, and Kawhi was starting to come on, or 2013, 2014 in there. But yeah,
I don't think the age gap was as big with them two either. Like, what's LeBron going to be next year? Like 36?
No, like 33.
LeBron? I thought he was much older than that.
He'll be 33 in December, I believe.
Oh, he'll be 36 at the end of the contract. That's where I got that.
His first contract with the Lakers, you mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, like 12 years isn't – that's basically what it's at right now. 12, 13 years. That's not too bad. I mean, I don't know that it really matters all that much if – I mean, I guess it means Lonzo can't throw as many alley-oops to LeBron. I mean, other than that, Lonzo can just be the dad on the team who makes terrible jokes and dances like a weirdo like he's been doing.
That's an interesting analogy.
Haven't you seen his Instagram? Like he's like in the
yeah.
gym dancing like a old dad. Like I don't even know.
That's my point guard. Anyways, Hani, how do you feel about the age difference?
I'm all right with it. I think it's a pretty good thing for a couple of reasons. One, having those young guys, if they pan out, means you got a couple of young players on really cheap deals, which allows you to keep building the team and making it better, which is like kind of sort of how the Warriors are this good. And then the second thing is if it all blows up in your face and LeBron just decides to not be good at basketball anymore or something, which, it won't happen. But if it does, then you at least already have a couple of solid foundational pieces that you can do rebuild around.
Yeah, I think the timeline would be – I mean, honestly, I think it'd be pretty good, I think to kind of rebuild the culture. Like LeBron, you add LeBron and you're instantly a playoff team. A lot of teams you add LeBron and you're a contender. I don't care that he'll be 33 in the first year of 33 going on 34 in the first year of his new deal with a new team if he does leave Cleveland at all. I mean, you kind of rebuild that winning culture and – you get into the playoffs and it's like you get these guys valuable experience like Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, like all these young guys that have never been there before. And you kind of rebuild this culture and you have a shot to win because if you add LeBron and another marquee free agent like a Paul George or Russell Westbrook, DeAndre Jordan, DeMarcus, whoever your preference is. I mean, winning is – it's good, valuable experience, like teaching young kids how to win, at this level. And I think with Lonzo, I mean, that's gonna start to come at some point. It might not be this year right away, but we'll see. But no, because I think like by the time LeBron really starts to slow down, say after like 3 years or so, you would think like Ingram and Lonzo would be coming into their own, right? So, I think the timeline would be actually very, very beneficial for the Lakers if that were the case. But it's to me, it's still a pipe dream at this point. It's not entirely unrealistic, but I'm still not considering it likely. So I'm not even going to acknowledge Austin Green's question. He knows how I feel.
He's fired from a job that he basically doesn't have right now.
You hear that, Austin?
We're on to you, Austin.
He's a Clipper fan anyways, like whatever. Yeah. But this was an interesting question from Daniel R on Twitter. He said, where do you rank Robert Horry on your all-time Lakers list? Jacob, you go ahead and take that one first.
On my all-time Lakers list? I have not thought about where Robert Horry would rank on my all-time Lakers list. I mean, like role players, he's like probably my second favorite. Like I love Derek Fisher. Horry's probably right there, right behind him. I mean, dude hit so many like huge shots in that three-peat run. And he was like the original stretch four playing beside Shaq. He's a ton of fun to watch. I'd say he's like my probably second favorite Laker role player, like all time. I don't know. He's probably like a top 15 guy, I guess. I'd have to think about it, but I mean, I loved watching him during those three-peat years. I hated it when he went to the Spurs, but
I always consider Robert Horry the OG stretch four because when I was a kid, because like I was really young and that was like my first experience of watching NBA basketball was the Kobe Shaq Lakers, and I didn't really realize it until later on when I got a little bit older, where I was like, wait a minute. I was like, Horry's the power forward out there, but he's like standing on the 3-point line. I was like, damn, like look at the Lakers, like, you know, surrounding Shaq with 4 shooters. And I love Ori. I mean, you know, I don't think I don't have him like top 10 Lakers all time, but I mean, he's definitely a name, you know, one of the great role players that they've ever had. I mean, dude, it's just ice water in his veins. I mean, just clutch. And yeah, loved him. I mean, I hated when he went to the Spurs, but Fisher gave him the .4 shot, so that was pretty nice. But no, I love Robert Horry. That guy was awesome. And I mean, any Kings fans watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, sorry, but
not sorry.
Shout out to Daniel really quick because he's also awesome. And then Horry's the best Laker of all time since he's been roasting Tim Duncan ever since Duncan retired.
That is true. That is true. That's some good points. All right, I'm going to steer away from some of these non-serious questions. This was a decent question here too. So we were asked by Lakers enthusiast who was part of the group, part of the crew. He asked if you're Majinka, Magic, and Rob Pelinka, if that's what we're calling him. How do you explain to your fan base in 2018? He says why you couldn't sign players like LBJ and PG, so LeBron and Paul George, after expressing so much confidence. I would say if they don't sign, like, come on, let's have a little bit of faith here. I guess how do you think that like they would have to explain that if they strike out next summer in free agency?
I don't even.
Same way that Mitch Kupchak and Jim Buss did, which is a few years from now signing the next 2 washed up big guys to giant deals.
God,
that's actually what my answer was going to be. I was going to say, well, at least we didn't hand out, you know, $34 million a year to these 2 guys.
Yeah.
No, but I think their explanation would just have to be, you know, didn't work out the way we wanted, but we have a ton of cap flexibility for next year, and our youth will be farther.
I hate that phrase.
Like I hate it too. Like I'm tired of hearing it, but like that's really like to me, like that's the only thing they could really say. You know, is that like our youth will be farther along, we'll be better, we'll have, you know, more to sell. Yeah, that's.
God, I hate this. This is like, and I agree 100%. That's like the only thing you can do, but that's just. We did this for however many years with Mitch and Jim. We would, we still have Kobe, and we'll be able to. D'Angelo and Clarkson will be farther along, or whatever it was. Randall, like, yeah. That's why I hate that we went all in on 2018 too. Because if they don't get LeBron and PG, like, not that explanation wouldn't even do. Like. You pushed all your chips in and then doubled down on 2018. You've said multiple times that that's what your focus is, and you're betting on yourself. You damn well better get at least one of them. Like,
yeah.
I hope they know something we don't. Hopefully they've tampered.
All right. So we've gotten through all the Twitter, Facebook, Gmail questions. So now we're going to dive into the YouTube live chat. And the 4th comment on there is that I see that Chris Tiller says Duke is better than North Carolina. Stop spreading fake news, Chris. Just
you're the man, Chris.
Chris, I have no strong feelings about this.
So in this instance, Jacob is wrong, and Hani is, I guess, gets half credit. But
Nevada Wolfpack better, by the way. Just letting you know.
Anyways, Seb on the live chat says, I don't want LeBron to come to the Lakers because he'll trade Ingram like Wiggins. Do you agree?
Well, it got him a NBA title, so I mean,
I don't think he would.
I don't think he would, but I mean, yeah, it got him a title. I don't know.
The difference is the Lakers are really close to having enough room to sign another superstar with LeBron, so they don't necessarily need to trade somebody like Ingram.
Well, and there's been a lot of comments about, you know, LeBron would try and like take over the front office and this and that, and I'm like, I don't see that happening. Like Magic is a strong. I mean, whether you agree or disagree with some of Magic's like opinions and moves or whatever, Magic's a strong personality. Like you don't just overtake that guy. Especially in the city of Los Angeles. Like that's a fight you don't pick, even if you're LeBron James. And I mean, I don't know the way that they like talk about Ingram and the way that they see him. Like they legitimately see him as like a superstar in the making. So I don't think there's any way the Lakers trade him. I mean, Magic was like labeled him as like the only untouchable of this core, right? Like, I mean, they made Lonzo kind of work and earn like his way, I guess, to be the number 2 pick. Like went through that whole pre-draft process. They just flat out said Ingram is untouchable. And that's coming off, a rookie season that he scored 8 points a game. He wasn't efficient at all. Like he struggled most of his rookie year. You could see the flashes. Like, I mean, I love Ingram. I hate the college he went to, but I love Ingram now. And he's the ceiling is the roof. I wanted to say through the roof.
God,
I couldn't pass up that opportunity. But no, I mean, you can just see it with Ingram. You can see why people think so highly of him, even though he might still have a long way to go. We don't know. But if he fulfills his potential or even close to it, he's going to be a really, really good player. So, I mean, that's how I think about it. Like, I don't see Ingram being traded unless he goes to another season or another 2 seasons where he's just not living up to par.
That LeBron thing is like super overrated anyway. Like it's just a weird narrative. Just because, like, yeah, he has influence over front office decisions because he's the best player in the world. Like, of course he's gonna have influence. Kobe Bryant had influence too. Like,
right.
But he's not the one actually making decisions. And he's been like with David Griffin, he's been super supportive of him before the Cavs ended up being cheap and letting him go.
The Lakers aren't owned by Dan Gilbert.
Too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to point out. Is like the situations around like ownership are way different.
Yeah, and the thing with that is like Cleveland knew their chance to end this title streak or their title drought. It hinged on LeBron. Like the Indians got close, but like Cleveland knew that for their franchise at least, if they're going to win a title, it's going to be with LeBron. And if not, it's not going to happen for a while, right? So they kind of had – and like they knew he left them once, like so they kind of know like this guy will leave us if we don't, cater to him. And I just don't think the Lakers would be that desperate to get a title to say LeBron will give you whatever you want. Like I don't see that because the Lakers – it's just totally different situation.
He basically could hold Cleveland hostage too because of the situation. Like – they absolutely needed him, like you said, and he knew that, and he could just hold them hostage over everything. I don't think it'll play out the same way in LA. Like the Lakers don't.
I don't think so at all.
Yeah, the Lakers don't need him the way that Cleveland and the Cavs needed him, and I think it's worth mentioning too. Like everybody's talking about how like LeBron runs the Cavs. Like David Griffin left, and like the Cavs just went into a huge dumpster fire. Like, that's not a coincidence. Like, I think how much power he has over that front office is hugely overstated.
And whatever power he has helped them win their first championship. Like,
yeah, I keep saying
it's not necessarily a bad thing that he has influence.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like he took over the team and they're like a lottery team or like a middling playoff team. Like he made them the best team in the NBA for 1 year and like a perennial 50-55 win team. Like it's not a terrible situation to be in.
They beat the Warriors, who blew a 3-1 lead while winning 73 games and having the unanimous MVP. Yeah, so on and so forth.
People forget that.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe people forget that. Anyways, Arthur asks us here on the live chat, he says, does Randall have any trade value to a contender? This is an interesting question because if the Lakers do want to shed Randall's contract and they don't really want to deal with that whole scenario next summer, and maybe he's not playing up to par, or they want to sell high because he's playing well. Hani, do you think, a contender would give up something of value for him, knowing he's a restricted free agent next summer?
I guess it kind of depends on what your definition of a contender is. I'm trying to think of teams right now, but it really depends on what the teams need, because Randall has a couple of skills that are already really good and that can help teams. And one is his rebounding. And then number two is that he's a pretty solid playmaker on offense, especially in transition. So if it's a team that wants to run a lot more, getting a guy that can grab a defensive rebound and then take it up court and find a shooter or whatever is really valuable. And off the top of my head, I can't think of any teams, but I'm sure there are teams that need that sort of thing. How much that value is, I have no idea. A team that's contending right now is probably much more willing to cough up money to keep them long-term if they need them. And not be super concerned with giving up some future assets like draft picks to get them and then possibly lose out on them in the offseason. So, yeah, I think it's just really situational, but I think there's a possibility that you could get a couple of things of value from other teams, from contending teams.
I think he probably has more value with a non-contender. I mean, like you said, that a contender's probably more willing to give up a first-round pick, but that pick's going to be late in the first round anyway.
Right.
I think a non-contender who, similar to what the situation Brooklyn was in, where they don't have a lot of assets. I think a team like that might be more willing, or even Dallas with Nerlens Noel is probably a decent kind of comparison. Dallas wasn't really that great. They didn't really have a replacement kind of for Dirk, a young front court player. So they took a risk on Noel, and I assume it'll pay off. I assume they'll get him, but I think that is probably, if the Lakers trade him, it would be to a situation like that, a team that kind of needs a more younger pieces, might be a little bit further along in their rebuild, to where paying him won't hurt quite as much. I think he probably has more value there, though, than because like he said, a contender, they're usually kind of max out in terms of cap room, and it's hard to find a situation where the salaries match up. The Lakers are going to want to keep their flexibility for next summer, and just stuff like that. It's kind of hard to match everything up. I think he probably has. If they're looking to trade him, I think it's more value on a non-contender.
Yeah, I would say, probably a team that's kind of battling for one of those lower seeds. It kind of needs an extra piece to kind of try and vault themselves forward. Because like you said, as currently projected, there's a lot of teams that are looking potentially at luxury tax dollars next year.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of teams that are going to have considerable cap space, which is good for the Lakers, which is really good for the Lakers. It kind of limits some of their competition. But yeah, because to me, if you're giving up a first rounder, it just depends. I guess it's not necessary.
This is
Gary's gone again.
The annual Gary keeps getting kicked off the podcast.
I was looking
at the counterpoint to what you said about Nerlens Noel. The Sixers didn't get much at all for him, and it's kind of, you're right, it is a similar situation in that Noel is a restricted free agent now. So last year when he got traded, he was on his last year of his deal.
Nerlens came with a lot of off-court kind of baggage issues too. It's not a perfect example, but
right.
I wouldn't imagine that the Lakers would get 2 second-round picks for Randall, but they're not going to get a lot because the team that's trading for him knows they have to pay him a lot of money next summer.
Yeah,
I don't know where I cut out, but basically my thought on Randall going to a contender is you're asking him to come off the bench, and you're gonna have to pay him a lot next summer. Plus, you're giving up a first rounder, and you probably won't have a ton of cap space, if any at all. So on a contender, he could bring value, but I just don't see him starting for a contender. Maybe a lower level playoff team, depending on what their power forward situation is like. But for a contender, I just don't really see it. But Hunter in the live chat asks, I think kind of something we talked about earlier. He said, "What if LeBron?" He said LB at the 1, KI at the 2. I'm wondering if he meant BI or.
No, he said Kyrie Irving later on in the chat.
Oh, okay. So Kyrie Irving, PG-13,
Wow.
Julius Randle, and Brooke Lopez.
I guess he's trading Lonzo for Kyrie? No, that's not happening.
No, okay. No, he's saying Alonzo Ball, Kyrie Irving. Sorry, just with the initials, I was kind of playing against the game. So Alonzo Ball, Kyrie Irving, Paul George, Julius Randle, and Brooke Lopez at the 5. I mean,
Ingram, I guess, to get Kyrie.
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, Kyrie and LeBron don't seem too thrilled with one another right now. So
yeah, that seems to end your chances at getting LeBron, and the Lakers don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Not really sure why he had Kyrie starting at the 2. That was weird line.
That team would be super talented offensively.
On paper, they would be, but
I don't know how those pieces fit like that well. Like, to me, I look at that and I'm like, the only good defender there is Paul George.
Yeah, and like we said, I don't think LeBron and Kyrie are going to be playing together much longer. So I don't think like those two are going to fit together on any team going forward. And I don't know. I probably wouldn't risk. If you trade for Kyrie, you're probably doing it knowing that you're not going to get LeBron. So I'd probably prefer LeBron.
Counterpoint.
Yeah, you're not going to get both of them.
Counterpoint, if you get Kyrie, you also get untucked jersey Kyrie, who is the best player in the league.
Yeah, but then you have to start believing that the world's flat. So
whatever, man. Mamba mentality. We know Kyrie's got it.
We'll sign MWP again, and he'll change his name to Meta World is Flat Piece.
Oh, God. I didn't know Anthony Irwin was on this podcast, but whatever.
I thought he was on vacation. I didn't know he joined.
Another question we got was, who starts, Randall or Kuzma? I think we all agree Randall's going to start from day one, and things would have to go pretty poorly, I think. Or Kuzma would just have to be lights out. We're excited for Kuzma. I'm excited. I want to see where he gets on the court because there are two guys probably ahead of him on the depth chart. But, I mean, Kuzma could start one day if he really pans out. But, I mean, I don't think just a summer league performance is enough to vault him ahead of Julius Randle. So, yeah, I mean, we all probably agree on that. And if Hani, if either of you disagree, you're definitely wrong on that one.
Yeah, I'm willing to admit that.
It's Randall. I don't see a situation where Kuzma starts this year.
Look, I've tweeted on multiple occasions that I'm naming my firstborn after Julius Randle, so I can't really go against him at this point.
Are you naming your secondborn after Kuzma?
Actually, no. I decided today I'm naming him after Hoodie Mello.
Hoodie Mello Amadian. All right.
Third born is untucked jersey Kyrie.
Oh my God.
Honey, just don't have kids, please. But no, this next question from Chris Tiller is, what are your Lakers 27-2018 season win-loss projections? Jacob, how many games are the Lakers going to win this year?
What ESPN put them at, like 33?
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's probably, I'd say probably like 31 to 33, which is still like a fairly significant improvement. I know people are kind of buying into the hype a little bit with Lonzo and LeVar saying that they're going to be a playoff team, but it's not going to happen. I will safely go on that limb. I would say 33 wins would be a really good season for us.
Yeah, I mean, 82-0 sounds about right to me.
Wait, did you mean 98-0?
We're talking regular season, all right?
All right.
Come on. No, I mean, I'll settle for 74-8. Like, there's going to be.
I want to rest players down the stretch for the playoffs.
Yeah,
we always have that annual game where we go to Oracle Arena or wherever the the Warriors are playing, and somehow they just beat us. It's always happens every year. I don't get it.
So Jacob has them at about 33 wins. Hani, how are you feeling about this year's Lakers?
Okay, first I gotta brag a little bit and say we did like 2 podcasts last year where we predicted, and one of them I said 25, one of them I said 27, and the Lakers won 26.
So you were wrong on both.
Yeah, but the average though.
Typical Hani.
Listen, I've been in college for a few years now, and everything is based on averages, so I did pretty good there. But my first guess, I'm gonna go with 30, just because the rest of the West is so good that I think even if you're a very highly improved team this year, and I think maybe whatever, ignore that. But even if you're a really highly improved team, I don't think you're gonna win a lot more games just because the rest of the West is so good.
Yeah, if the rest of the conference didn't get so much better, I'd feel a lot better about their chances.
Yeah.
I mean, they added some established talent, guys like KCP and Brook Lopez, which is big for winning games.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's tough because like you're still depending pretty heavily on young players, and young players traditionally don't win you a lot of games. Like you're still depending on a 20-year-old Brandon Ingram. I mean, he's not even 20 yet. Like he turns 20 in like a couple weeks. Lonzo's 19, going to turn 20. Yeah, like you're depending on these young players to really pan out like right away if you're going to win a lot of games. Because I like Brook Lopez, I like KCP, but they're coming from bad teams, right? Like I don't know, and I don't blame Brook Lopez because Brooklyn has just been trying to really scrap and rebuild the best they can without draft picks and whatnot, but. Yeah, I mean, honestly, somewhere between 30 and 35 wins, I think is realistic. I hope that they're better, and to me, it's going to hinge a lot on Ingram. But like, if they win 10 more games than last year, say they go 36 and 46, that's a big improvement. Like, that's a really, really big improvement. And
that, most importantly, that's probably that goes a long way in recruiting LeBron and PG to come, because if they won 36 games, like Lonzo and Ingram probably had really good years.
Yeah, like if they're anywhere around 500, it means that they, their young guys really played well, and they can sell it like, hey, these guys are only going to get better, and if you join our team, like that'll elevate us, to,
Put us over the top, basically.
Yeah, like that's I don't know. We'll see. Like I'm just trying to keep my expectations in check, I guess. We'll see. The West is just so good. Like a lot of talent migrated from the East to the West, and I mean, even a team like Utah that lost Hayward's still going to be a solid team, I think. They won't be – I don't think they'll be what they were, but it's like they still have – like they acquired Rubio. They still have Gobert. They have, some of these guys that are going to get better. I like Donovan Mitchell. I really like Donovan Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
So I think – and Quinn Snyder's a good coach. Like they're still going to be a solid team. And they might not even be a playoff team. Like who knows? Like there's a lot of really good teams in the West. So it's tough. It's tough. All right. What are our player stat projections for the Lakers? That I feel like is a written post. Ingram's going to average 81 points. Lonzo's going to average 32 assists. Oh, he's just passing to Ingram.
Randall's averaging 50 boards
per half.
Yeah, no, I mean that's maybe we can do that in like a written post or something, but that would take a really long time to kind of break that down. But
I mean, who do you think is going to be the leading scorer this year
for the Lakers?
Yeah,
it's got to be Lopez, right?
I'd probably have to say Lopez.
Yeah,
just because I think he's going to have a lot of 3-point shots this year, and if he shoots around 35%, kind of like he did last year, I mean the points could tally up pretty quickly. And I think with Lonzo, like Lopez is a pretty good pick and roll diver, and a guy that is a pretty creative finisher in the paint. I just think he'll get a lot of opportunities. I think this will be kind of like the most playmaking he's been around for a little while. I mean, he had Jeremy Lin for most of last season. I know Lin missed a pretty.
He was hurt a lot, about half of last season.
Yeah, I was saying no, he missed a pretty good chunk of time. But Lin's a solid player. But Lonzo's a good playmaker. We've seen Ingram create before. Randall. There's going to be good floor spacing. It's just a good situation, I think, for Lopez to thrive offensively, and he'll get opportunities. He'll get a lot of opportunities, especially because I don't think the Lakers have somebody at the center position that's really knocking on the door to eat his minutes up. Maybe Nance or Randall playing small ball 5, but we'll see with Zubats and Thomas Bryant. Sorry, Jacob, but I mean, we're probably, at least a full season of development or 2 seasons away before we can really kind of judge his ability at the next level. So
Kobe better.
They're just waiting to unleash him on the league. It's okay. I can respect that.
Thomas Bryant is 2 years away from being 2 years away.
Hey, excuse you. He's already better than Bruno is right now.
I mean, Bruno's got a better first name.
Yeah.
He's got a better last name, too. He just has a better name. I can't. Bruno Caboclo, I can't even say it. It's a baller name. Better. I'll give him that.
That's another white thing, by the way. Added to the tally.
All right. Well, on that note, we're done. We are done. The last question was about the Clippers. I don't care about the Clippers.
Wait, Austin sent another question?
The Clippers make the playoffs. I hope not. I hope they go 0-82.
There's a guy in the YouTube live chat that really hates Randall. So we'll see. We'll see what Randall does this year. It's a make or break year for him.
Quite literally.
The race comments are one thing. Let's not promote violence on here.
All right.
just settle down. All right. No, that's going to do it for us this time. This timing wise is actually really good. I actually enjoyed all these questions that we got, except for David's lunch question. David, come on, you're better than that. But no, this was really fun. I enjoyed this. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, we're definitely going to be doing this a little bit more often to kind of get us through the rest of the summer and into training camp and preseason and all that stuff. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Like I mentioned earlier as well, we will be doing a schedule breakdown podcast here probably later this week, hopefully in the next couple of days or so. So definitely watch out for that as well. Some news I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, but we are making some changes to the site. We're kind of updating the look a little bit and things like that. You guys might have noticed some of the logos are different and things like that. We're kind of updating the site. And in doing so, we're trying to improve the site and make it better. So if you do like our content on LakersOutsiders.com, I left the link in the description. Let me know if it's not working, but we did start a Patreon where you can make monthly payments to us if you like our content. It doesn't have to be a certain amount. You can seriously contribute $1 a month, and anything is greatly appreciated. And like I said, that'll help us take our site to the next level and give you guys better content, and just bring you guys new things and just make everything better. So like I said, the link should be in the description. If not, you can go to LakersOutsiders.com. It is the first post on the homepage right now. It's pinned to the top there. Just click on that, and you can kind of read through that, and the link is included in that post that was beautifully written by Hani Ahmadi. And the one thing you got right, Hani, the one thing.
Yeah, I called everybody exceptionally good-looking people, so even if you don't want to pay, just go read that, and it'll make your day better.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I do.
I believe it's our pinned tweet on our Twitter as well.
Yes, yes, and it's also pinned at the top of Facebook, I believe, too. So, it's pretty easy to find it. Like I said, any contribution at all is greatly accepted. I mean, a lot of us are just college students trying to, crank this thing up as far as we can go in the free time that we have. So, like I said, it'll be greatly appreciated if you guys contribute anything at all. But no pressure on that. Like, we love the feedback we've gotten. We love just our fans, our followers. You guys from the beginning have been awesome, and we just want to deliver better content for you. And this is kind of a way that helps make that happen for us. So enough about that, but we're going to sign off here. If you like the podcast, you can always subscribe to us on YouTube and on iTunes. And if you like us on iTunes, I know I'm asking a lot, but please leave us a review on iTunes. That also greatly helps us. If you want to do one or the other, just do what you want. I don't really care, but I'm done making demands and asking you guys for things. Hani, Jacob, I want to thank you guys for joining me today and putting up with my internet kicking me out a couple times of this room. I am looking forward to seeing how you guys reacted when it happened. I'm sure you guys did like a video chat high five, so that'll be
Yes, he's
fun.
gone. We can make all the jokes about UNC we want now.
All right, Jacob.
That's how I react.
I will boot you from this podcast, even though it's about to be over. But no, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. The questions, you guys are great. Keep an eye out. We'll be doing this again, hopefully very soon. So keep your questions ready. Keep your questions ready and send them our way. So for Hani Ahmadian and Jacob Rude, this is Gary Kessler signing off. We'll see you guys next time.
Rest in peace, Heather Hay.